A static screen suddenly became a familiar image. A shadowy figure sat behind a desk, impossible to identify as the disclaimer begins to roll. What you are about to see is the truth. Omega demands you remain complacent. We present only the facts. You decide for yourselves what you will do. The future is in your hands. Good evening to you, the truth seeker, the individual who dares question supreme authority. We begin tonight with a message to those who would join the resistance, the force whose presence exists in the shadows, on the fringes of society. We salute your efforts and remain steadfast in the belief that this world can be rescued from the siren, voltage, and the machine that is the Omega Corporation. The video changed to show footage from recent events. A battalion of soldiers in black-clad armor rampaged through cities, sowing unchecked destruction in their wake of all who would oppose its leader, a woman who appears as a bolt of lightning. The devastation caught on the video is comparable to the nuclear devices used over 100 years prior to end a war. This, however, is not the end, but a terrifying beginning. I sat behind the desk as the footage rolled, knowing full well the scope of what it all meant. I knew too that I was a traitor. Like most people, I worked by day for Omega, though they had no idea what I really was. If Omega ever found my broadcast origin, I would be executed publicly and with terrible efficiency. Or worse, the cause I represented didn't need a martyr. It needed a savior. But it hadn't always been so. Only 20 years ago, when I was only a child, the world hadn't yet known that what started between two women as the greatest humanitarian effort ever would turn into a civilization forged of absolute control. The famine, depression, ecological and economic cataclysm began with the birth of the Sirens, the two women imbued with godlike power, a power no human should wield. Now the self-appointed supreme leader, Voltage, eradicates all those who stand against her rule. Several years ago, before Voltage had used her power to subjugate much of the world, a group of rogue sirens attempted to end her reign. They were the Resistance, the group I was now attempting to contact. Although it was clear they had failed in their effort, I knew they must still exist in some form. I'd copied their message to the people. This same message I now broadcast night after night, in hopes of joining their cause. I gazed back at the feed, the message scrolling alongside the truth Omega sought to hide. There were more sirens out there. The hunt for them would continue in all things Omega did. Eradication of the women who possessed the siren gene was paramount. Only a siren could stop the onslaught. A warning light indicated our time to broadcast the pirate signal was ending. They were tracing us. Continue to resist. Humanity must survive. Static began to creep over the feed as I spoke our mantra. The truth will never be silenced. The timed broadcast cut, and I quickly stood and retrieved my mobile and portable tripod. I tucked them both into my bag as I swept out of the room and headed up the stairwell. Oh, Naomi, I thought, you need to give this up and blend in. But I knew in my heart I never could. I would continue my quest to search out the resistance cell. It's why I kept broadcasting, hoping somehow, against all reason, the resistance would find me before Omega did. I smiled weakly at the thought of not being alone. There had to be other sirens out there. I couldn't be the last one left. The door to the rooftop creaked loudly on rusty hinges as I heaved it open and stepped out into the moonlit night. A light breeze pressed into me, and the sensation of power filled my whole being. As is often the case, I couldn't resist. Knowing there were no patrols this far into the slums, I glanced around perfunctorily and realizing I was completely alone on this high rooftop in the near darkness, I leapt up to the edge and jumped. Eyes closed, I plummeted downward, 16 stories separating me from the pavement below. Then, my fall became an arc, wide and sweeping, as I embraced the power I held within. I opened my eyes, spread my wings, and began to fly.